Great day, attractive thinker. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. I am delighted that you are here for another episode. More mental tools, capturing the gems. Have your attractive thinker notebook handy and your pen, because we'll be dropping some jewels along the way that you'll be able to capture and use and continue to use on your journey. Welcome my co-host Tichet Bradshaw to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance.
Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. It's such a wonderful day to do what we've never did, go where we've never gone, and have all that we can have. It is a joy to be alive.
Yes, it is. It is a great day to be alive. It's a joy to be alive. We're grateful to be experiencing this life experience, and we're learning and growing and evolving, and we're getting tools that we can use along the way to make our journey more joyful, meaningful, and fulfilling. I want to encourage you to click that like button. Click that like button, click the share button, and share this message with your circle of influence. People need mental health resources. They need mental tools to help them live through a break and life beyond the break. Click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our episodes going forward of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. What does that mean, give yourself a fighting chance? When you don't have all of the tools that you need and you don't have the support that you need, you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. When you lack answers and you don't have clarity, or you're going through sadness and depression, and you don't have the supports in place that you need to keep you uplifted, to keep you strong, to keep you focused, and to keep you from falling apart, you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. So that's why we're here to support you in giving yourself a fighting chance, because you never know what life is like beyond this break. I want you to think about that. Today, we're going to be talking about wisdom beyond the break. See, when we experience a heartbreak like I did, one of my first thoughts was, I can't imagine life after this. I can't imagine who I am going to be, who I get to be after this. What woman shows up in life now after all of this? You know, who am I? And when we talk about wisdom beyond the break, we're talking about this new person who is evolving. I guarantee you, the person that you were before the break and the person that you're going to become after the break are two different people. Your priorities are different, your thoughts are different, your beliefs are different. Sometimes your friends are different, your environment is different. You know, what you do on your day-to-day basis, your lifestyle is different, but from before the break and beyond the break. So wisdom is a part of that. You know better. You're more stronger after a break. You know how to make decisions now. Now you have decision-making tools in place. You may not have had that before. Now you know how to properly make a decision. You don't just randomly make a decision. Now things matter that didn't used to matter. Now your priorities are shifted. Wisdom beyond the break. The break produced that. See, a lot of times when you hear people tell about their defining moments or their heartbreaks and their stories, they don't tell it in an empowering way. They tell all the things that happened to them, and they leave in their journey, these gems and jewels, all of the things that happened for them. I want you to understand it. And they also leave in their journey who they became in the process. See, there's a way to tell a story. There's a way to tell an attractive thinker story, telling it the attractive thinker way. But 9 times out of 10, now the initial heartbreak, yes, you know, we go through that flood, that ocean of emotions. And we're not looking at the bright side of things. We're not looking to grow. We're not looking at what we can get out of this. We're still stuck in the hurt, the pain of the break. But I want you to understand, there are things that are happening to you as a result of this break. There are things that are happening in you as a result of this break. You're being strengthened. You may not feel it. You may not feel it. The things that happened in me when I was in my break, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel my wings growing. I didn't feel chains falling off of me. I didn't feel clarity of vision. I didn't feel like my focus was sharp. I had laser sharp focus. I didn't feel strong, but it was happening. It was happening the whole time I was going through that break. It was happening. And then just out of the clear blue, just one day, I realized that I didn't think the same way, that I didn't feel the same way about certain things. I felt more strong and more empowered. Now this is one thing that I've noticed, when I have my down days, and attractive thinkers do have down days, I really, because see, at first I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. I thought there was something wrong with me. I'm like, I'm I know there's greatness in me. I'm on a mission. I got things to do. I accomplish things, I'm an implementer. I make things happen. I don't have time for these down days. I don't have time for all of this heaviness and darkness and depression and not feeling good about myself. I don't have time for that. And I couldn't understand why it was happening. And it was a cycle. It would happen, and then it would pass, and I would get back up in life and keep functioning, and then it would happen again, and it would pass, and I would get, and then I noticed the cycle and the pattern. I was like, what is going on here? What is this? One thing that I noticed, attractive thinker, this is that when it passed and I got back up, I was stronger. I had more clarity. I understood more who I was and what I was doing and why I'm here in the earth. So that was one of the things that I took from those down days. So I learned that when those down days come, instead of resisting them, I now embrace them. I get in the bed, I put my feet up, I soak my feet, I drink some tea, I turn my soft music on, or I'll just flip some channels to do some mindless things so I don't have to think. Because as an attractive thinker, I'm always thinking. And relaxing for me is doing mindless things where there's no thought involved. And I learned to embrace my downtime with the knowing that it was going to pass, and that I was being strengthened. I was getting strong. I was coming out stronger, and that I was going to be better and sharper and more clearer beyond that break. So paying attention to our lives, because Tichet, you and I used to talk about this a lot because it was happening in cycles, and we automatically knew, if you called me and I was down, or I called you and you were down, we were like, we know it's going to pass. We already know what's on the other side of this. So go ahead and do your thing, embrace it, eat your
Yes.
chocolate, put your feet up, do some,
Yep.
a bunch of nothing. Because when this process is over, and you kick back in, the authentic you kick back in, you're going to hit the ground running, and you're going to be stronger. You'll be able to go further. You'll have more stamina. You can withstand more. You can last longer. That downtime had a purpose. And sometimes life has to shut us down so we can reboot, so we can detox, so we can wipe out the hard drive, get rid of all of that stuff that's not working. It's almost like coming to a rest stop or a pit stop, or a break in the race. And like with those racing cars, they get to a place in their race where they pull their car over to the side. The guys run out, they flip the wheels off, they change things. He gets some water, they put some new information or resources or air in the car or whatever, and he back on the road again. So having this perspective of a break helps you get through the break and anticipate and expect some great things on the other side of the break. Tichet, tell our audience, talk to us about the wisdom that you acquired beyond your break.
Oh my goodness. It was so much that I didn't know this much would come to me, because when I was in the break, I honestly counted myself out. I counted myself down and out. I judged myself for feeling the way I felt, for going through what I went through. Once I got out of all of that, and I started to really look at what was going on, a lot of things started being revealed. I started allowing myself to receive the wisdom that was coming out of this experience. I started to look closely at my experience, and I started to look at my past. I started to assess my habits. I had to journal so much in order for me to get to a point where I understood why I was having those down days like that. At one time, I thought, I was mentally ill. And then after I did my journal for about a year and under some really good assessment, I realized at that time I was just mentally tired, and that I had a right to feel the way I felt, because I counted myself out because I didn't think that I deserved to feel the way I feel. But those were real problems. But I was so busy trying not to look what they call weak that I wasn't allowing myself to be strong. So once I accepted my process and allowed myself to get through it, I realized that my down days is not weekdays. My down days were the days that really where a lot of the wisdom came in. My down days were the time where I would assess all that went on, and I would get some new revelation. And sometimes the revelation doesn't always come in the way we expect it to. The revelation, the revelation doesn't always show up in the way we would like it to come. It comes in an unordinary way, and it comes at the most inopportune time. You're not even looking for it at this point. You're like, I'm just sitting here doing diamond art painting, and then here comes a download of all this wisdom. And it's like, I could have used this a year ago, but now that I have it, I use it and I write it down, because I want to get in the habit of, when power and wisdom is given to me, I want to write it down so I can remember it the next time I go through a down day. I usually put things on my power wall. Some of you on my website, visualencouragement.com, we have a power wall of different wisdom, different sayings that help people get through just the day, because sometimes we need to just be able to make it through a moment so that we can get to the next moment to be able to stand up. My power wall has a lot of wisdom on it, that when my down day approach me and I'm in a mindset where I don't want to receive, it'll speak when I can't. It'll speak for me when I'm not even listening. Sometimes it takes me to actually sit in my room and get myself together and collect myself, for me to actually see it and understand it, and then it puts me right back in. Dr. Toni, you was talking about when you going through the moment, you didn't know, what it was going to bring. You didn't know that you was being strong at the moment. And I was thinking about the historical moments, all the historical moments that we know, all the big moments that we have in books and movies and things that have been jotted down from generation to generation. A lot of those people didn't know that they were creating actual historical moments at that time. They were just trying to fix an issue.
Yeah.
They had enough passion or enough desire to see change that allowed them to use everything they had. If it was a broom or a mop, whatever they needed, if they had to use 2 sticks to rub together, they were going to use that and fix whatever the issue is. So the historical moments, the big moments that we all remember, a lot of them probably wasn't getting caught up in the moment at that time. A lot of them were just doing what they loved, doing what they were passionate about, doing what they were gifted for, doing what they were called to do, helping a friend, helping family, trying to find an answer, being an answer. Because when we understand that there's more to life than physical and skin and bones, we know that we are an answer in the earth. We're going to look to see if we have something to offer, and we're going to offer it. We're not going to just keep it to ourselves. And why download all this wisdom just to keep it to yourself? You want to learn and then teach, and then learn and then teach, and then learn and then teach. You want to maintain that cycle. That is a good cycle to get into, along with the art of letting go and holding on, and letting go and holding on. There's some things you need to hold on to, and there's some things you need to let go of. You have to have the discernment to know the difference. There's so many things, but a lot of them, yes, they were just fixing the issue. Another thing you were talking about is on your down days where you take time to restart and recollect yourself, and I think you said recover or reboot, and I think you used the example of the race cars going into the pit and getting changed. If we think of computers and we think of a hard drive, we have to shut down our computers and shut down our phone every now and again so it can reboot, update, and do what it needs to do so that it can get in the proper alignment to be able to do the work that it was called to do. The phones, you notice how when you do so much on your phones and you weighing it down so much, you get heated. And then next thing you know, if you don't cut it off, it'll shut off by itself.
Yes.
That's how I feel sometimes on my down days when I go too far and then I end up crashing. I stop judging my crashing days. I stop saying, oh, I can't handle this, or I can't do that, or I must not be made for this. You are made for it, but you can only go so far by yourself. But when you have tools in place, when you take that time of getting to know yourself, that assessment time, that downtime, when you take that time to lift up your feet and to care for you, that self-care, that is time for you to get in alignment. That's supposed to help you. You can't judge what is there to help you. You can't judge what is actually there to strengthen you. So during that time, this is where we get a lot of the wisdom. This is where we understand hindsight is 2020. This is where we can look back and say, what was that? What was that about? What happened? And then, you start thinking about, you start putting two and two together. You start seeing that this happened, many times in your life before. You start noticing the trends, and then you say, every time I do think or say this happens. It has something to do with that. And then things start clicking. And that's where you start building the answer. See, we can have a lot of fun in building the answer if we can just get past the pain. The pain is there for a reason. The pain stretches, the pain helps builds muscle, the pain moves. So if you're having pain, it's so you can move, because a lot of us won't do anything or move unless we have fire or pain. It moves you. That fire or that pain will move you. It's hard to keep still if you're in pain. It's hard to keep still when you're on fire. So passion or pain is sent here to move us. So when we're out there in the world and we're learning all these different things, and we're taking in different people teachings, and we're learning wisdom in the spirit, and things we're learning on our own. Don't forget those. The things we learn on our own that we don't yet have the confirmation in, don't throw those out, because those will confirm soon enough. You'll see why your spirit said what it said soon enough, because it's not for nothing. You didn't learn that for nothing. It'll all connect at a certain time and space. Again, we always talk about timing and how things will align, or things will show itself in its timing, and we have to be patient and be able to endure. We're not saying to keep suffering, we're saying to endure. In other words, stand strong while you go through something until you get where you need to go. We're not telling you at all to give up. Attractive thinkers, we don't give up. As long as we have breath, we keep moving. And as long as we are alive, we're going to keep fighting and keep paving the way. So while we're doing that, everything will reveal itself, and you'll come upon people who might have that one missing puzzle piece that you didn't think you had, or that you didn't think was out there, or that you didn't even know was right here. And it could be somebody that's close to you, a good friend, somebody you how you call them, ride or die people who are with you till the end, people who got your back no matter what, people who hold up your arm, and if your arm is not strong enough to hold it up. Those people in your life, those are the ones that might have that exact piece of wisdom, that puzzle piece, that revelation that you need to go forward. So when we're collecting wisdom in our life, we're not just collecting wisdom just to be, although being is good. We want to have a balance of being and doing. We want to be we want to be proactive in our life, and do what we can out of the wisdom that is given to us, what we want to do out of our being. Because if you're not being who you say you want to be, then your doing will create the same thing you're in now. So this is why it's important on your down days to understand who you are trying to be. Where are you going? Because you don't want to keep creating or climbing a ladder against the wrong building. So back to you, Dr. Toni. That was good.
Yes, Tichet. When we talk about wisdom beyond the break, attractive thinkers, I want you to tune in closer, get a little closer, listen a little deeper, and be ready to capture these gems. Write them down. I'm sure you've captured gems along the way while Tichet was talking. I want to share with you what wisdom looks like beyond the break. Wisdom meaning you may not have known who you were beyond before the break, but you knew there was greatness inside of you. And sometimes before a break, that's enough. You might say, well, Dr. Toni, I don't know who I am. As an identity coach, I support my clients in getting crystal clear as to who they are. Everything that you are, you already have it. You just may not have identified it as such. You may not be able to put it all together and make it make sense to you, but you're already doing it. You've already done it. It's already in you. You're already interested in it. You may be doing it right now and unaware of it. You might be operating in your greatness and unaware of it. So when we talk about wisdom beyond the break, be after a break, or should I say during the break, some things are becoming clear to you. You know what I mean when I say that? When I say during the break, some things are becoming clear to you. When you're in a break, when something breaks, it shifts you into deep thought. It pulls you away from the crowd. You spend more time with yourself. You don't want to, the things you used to like doing, you no longer like doing. The things you didn't want to spend too much time on, like journaling or praying or eating right, or spending self-care, extreme self-care, pampering yourself, those things that you felt like you didn't have time to do, now all of a sudden you have all the time in the world to do them. Wisdom beyond the break. Some things are taking place during the break, and then you're acquiring answers and solutions. Things are becoming more clear to you. Sometimes you could be in the middle of the day minding your business and just thinking about some things, and a thought will come, an answer will come. You said, you know why, attractive thinker? Because there's something special that happens to us when we're in a break. Our treasure, it's almost like a jewelry box. Our treasure box has been broken open, and all of these little diamonds and jewels and treasures and all of this valuable stuff, it's exposed now. And every now and then throughout your day, you can be minding your business. All of a sudden, you see a little glimmer, a shiny little thing glimmering in the light over here. And you turn your attention over there and you look a little bit closer, and there's a solution that you've been looking for years. Or you discover something that you had never even considered. You were trying to figure out what was going on in this particular area of your life. You didn't have all the parts and the pieces and the tools to figure it out. Then all of a sudden, something's revealed to you that it never even crossed your mind. Or you could be dealing with something with one of your children. You wanted to know what was going on, or you wanted to help them the best way possible, but you didn't know how to. And then all of a sudden, something drops out on your lap. And there it is right there. There's some wisdom that seed of wisdom reveals itself. It grows, it exposes itself to us when we're in a break. And that wisdom is at its best beyond the break, because now it's in its fullness and you can use it. But it comes to the surface, it exposes. I want you to think about this when you think about your heart. This is what I've discovered. Our fear, our self-doubt, our lack of confidence, our lack of courage, our unworthiness and undeservedness is at the bottom half of the heart. It resides in the bottom half of the heart. And the top half of the heart is your inspiration, your motivation, your creativity, your courage, your dreams, your hope, your love, your joy, your meaning, and your fulfillment. When that heart breaks, the first thing that leaves is our belief in ourselves, our trust, our confidence, our courage, our outlook, our hope. Do you know how valuable hope is? And when, as soon as the heart breaks, all of our good stuff leaks out. And you're like, oh my God, I lost hope, or I feel hopeless. I have less hope than I did before. And when all of that stuff leaks out, what's left? What just by default just rises right to the surface? Our unworthiness, our doubt, our fear, our not feeling good enough about ourselves, our low self-esteem, all of our problems, our regrets, our guilt, our shame. It's now rising to the surface and at the forefront of your mind, and that's all you see and feel. Do you know that also what's happening when the heart breaks and your good stuff leaks out? It's not just leaking out to be lost, it's leaking out to be exposed and revealed to you. You now have access to it. If something is locked up in your heart, you don't have access to it. But when it breaks, you got access, you have access to it now. You can see things for what they are. You know how sometimes you have a conversation with someone or even with yourself, you say, let me sit at this table and just lay it all out on the table so I can see what I'm working with. When your heart breaks, it's all laid out on the table so you can see what you're working with. You discover courage that you didn't even know you had. You receive clarity that you didn't even know was possible. You get creative ideas that you didn't even know existed. You have laser sharp focus now. Your priorities are in order. The things that used to matter don't matter, and the things that didn't matter matter. Now things are in alignment. Now things are organized. See, there's some benefits of going through a heartbreak, but you have to have an attractive thinker mindset, an attractive thinker eye to see it as such. Remember, in some of our prior episodes, you get to decide what meaning you place on your circumstances and experiences. And as an attractive thinker, you know to give it a meaning that's empowering so you can create something good from it. The same situation you can experience it, and it can happen to someone in your circle, on your job, in your business, one of your clients, your neighbor, in your church, or a family member, or somebody across town, whatever. The same situation can produce two different outcomes depending on who's experiencing it and what they see, how they see what they see. The same experience. I want you to think about that. So that means it's not personal. The same, you're not the first person that happened to, and you won't be the last. You take that same thing that you're experiencing right now. Think of all the other people that you know of in your life that have experienced that. I guarantee you the outcomes are just endless. The difference in the outcomes are endless. One person experienced the same thing you did, and they created this from it. Another person produced that from it. Another person did that as a result. Another person did this because it happened to them. And I mean, the outcomes are endless. Why? Because the people who experienced it are different people, and the belief systems are different, and their determination is different, and their expectation is different. So it wasn't the circumstances, it wasn't what you were going through, it was how you were viewing it that created that outcome that you're experiencing. And here's the beautiful part about it, Tichet. You can change your outcome. You can change how you see a thing, because how you see a thing is what determines everything. So this wisdom that we get beyond the break is valuable. And as the heart begins to heal, the self-doubt and the fear and the guilt and shame begin to take their rightful place, which is below the surface. Our courage comes back, and our confidence comes back, and our clarity and creativity and hope and expectation, they pile back in, and the heart seals and heals. Although you may still be able to see the crack, it seals and heals. And in the process of that happening, you've experienced some wonderful things along the way, and you're not the same person as you were prior to the break. You're a new person because you got an opportunity to access your heart. Whereas people who have not experienced a heartbreak, they have no idea what's inside their heart. They have no idea what their powers are. They have no idea the solutions that lie within. Because the benefit, the power, the blessing, the solution, your greatness is in the break. You discover it in the break. You discover how far you can go in life after a break. You discover how great you really are, how tall you really can be, how much potential you really have, and how wonderful life really is when you survive a break, because everybody does not survive a break. But you survived a break. Give yourself credit for that. People used to say this to me, oh, you're such an awesome mother. I didn't think I was such an awesome mother when I was going through my defining moment. I was just doing what I felt like a mother should do, not understanding that I was being strengthened for the journey. Not understanding that how I was showing up as a result of my break was not common. I didn't know it wasn't common. It's not common for you to be listening to this message right now after all you've been through. That's not common. Some people go through a half of what you've been through and they check out or they never recover. There is a place in the mind that you can go to, a point of no return. But you're here listening to this message. You didn't bring yourself here. Greatness brought you here. There's a seed of greatness that hasn't come to its fullness yet, and that's why you're still here. Wisdom beyond the break means acknowledging the fact that you're better as a result of it. You're greater as a result of it. And the beautiful part about it is when you're going through a break or you're beyond a break, you're still thinking about who else you can help. You're still always thinking about other people. You're always thinking about where you can solve a problem, where you could be a blessing, how you can make somebody else's life better. Only greatness does that. That's not common and it's not normal. I'm trying to show you that you are better than you were before as a result, not in spite of what you've been through, but because of what you've been through. The wisdom that comes forth out of us beyond the break is priceless. And you know what? They don't sell wisdom. Wisdom is not for sale. Where can you go and get wisdom? It happens within. It's something that comes from within as a result of something that happens within. You can't buy wisdom. It's not for sale. It's not free. It costs you something. That's why I always say, I only want to be around people who've been through something and became something as a result of it. Because those are the only people that can help me when I'm going through something. Think about that, attractive thinker. Those are the only kinds of people that can help you when you're going through something, are people who have gone through something and became better as a result of it. Now they can help you when they spot you, when they see, they can tell something broke in you. They can tell something's going on. They can tell something's off, something's different, something's new. They can tell, and they know exactly how to support you through that breaking. They're there to make sure you don't miss any of the treasure that leaks out. They're there to make sure you capture everything. I always say, if it has to hurt, it has to count. If it has to hurt, it has to count. Don't sit there and go through a break and come out empty-handed. Get your stuff. That break meant something. It had a purpose. There's wisdom beyond the break. Tichet, tell our audience, tell the attractive thinkers, did you have any last comments, any last gems that you want to share with our attractive thinkers on how we can actually step into the wisdom beyond the break?
Absolutely. To stepping into the wisdom is number one. Give yourself a fighting chance. That's number one.
Yes.
Seeing beyond what you're looking at, like Dr. Toni said, and you say, how do I see beyond what I'm looking at? How do I see more than, what this is? This is a heartbreak. This happened, that happened. First, knowing that life is more than what just happened. Knowing that there's a message behind it, knowing that there's a greater picture behind all of this. Having that hope in that, holding on to what you can, holding on to yourself for once. When you give yourself a fighting chance, you're not counting yourself out at every heartbreak. You're counting yourself up. You're counting on yourself to pull out of this because people can hope for you. People can wish you well. People can give you all kinds of advice and, love and support. But it's until you know that you're worthy to get up and stand and fight that you'll actually get up and stand. Sometimes when we go through a heartbreak, you might not want to get up. You might not want to do this because, again, we talked about how many times we want to just give up, but we can't. Something inside of you will not let you go. And for that means there's a greater purpose behind you, and it's worth seeing what that is. So when you go through that discovery phase and you discover what that is, that will help you many times over every time you have a heartbreak. It'll help you so much, but not just you. Everybody around you will see the change in you. That discovery period reveals a lot. So give yourself a fighting chance with the hope and the wisdom. Sometimes that wisdom will come with pure common sense. Sometimes it might come with taking a step that you don't even know is there, but you won't know that step is not there until you take a step. It won't appear. So sometimes all you have to do is stand. Sometimes you can't see it sitting on the sofa. Sometimes you can. It depends on the situation. But sometimes it's going to require you to stand tall regardless of what you just went through in order to see that next step. And this is only done when you give yourself a fighting chance. That's why we're here. That's why we have Beyond the Break, because we wanted you to know that you deserve a fighting chance and you deserve to live beyond the break. Because I say this every week, beyond the break is where it's at. And that's going through it and getting through it, making it through it with power, making it out of it with everything you are and having that exposure. That's where your life is. That's where the true you lives. That's where your spirit already is when it told you to get up. Your spirit is already in the future when it told you to get up. It's not wallowing in the woes with you. It's in the future. So when you go beyond the break, where it's at, you'll meet your real life and live it and say, I thank God. Not only did I make it through that, but I thank God for every tear that I cried and every sun that penetrated what I thought was problems, but God saw it as opportunity. I made it through it. And you can too. That's why we're here.
Yes, yes, yes. You'll see what your real life is like beyond the break. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. If you're in need of clarity and you need someone that has vision that can shine the light on what it is that you're experiencing so that you can get the clarity that you're looking for, book your clarity session today at www.clarity.theattractivethinker.guru. Get on my calendar. Let's get you up and moving. Put that lamp on your feet and that light on your path so you can see exactly where you're going. Tichet, tell our audience, tell the attractive thinkers how they can get in touch with you when they're living life beyond the break.
Absolutely. You can find me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com, where I provide mental support for movers and shakers, trailblazers, pathfinders, and groundbreakers, people who desire to move mountains so that they can create a new vision for themselves, but they need help lifting the heaviness. Go to my contact us page, put in your information, let me know how I can encourage you, enlighten you, and uplift you so that you can live the life of fulfillment beyond the break. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com. See you soon.
Awesome. I want you to always remember it is not what you're going through, it's how you're dealing with it. Think attractively, and we'll see you soon.